Hi there, my name is FixFox and welcome to Heroes of Might and Magic 2. This is the FHeroes edition and today we are going back in time. We have already completed the Descendants campaign. The final scenario was a pretty excellent one, but ultimately we were able to complete the mission and now we just have to go back and do the alternate scenarios. There were two different forks in the road. We have two scenarios that we need to go back on and redo. In this instance today, we are going to be looking at doing either scenario 3 or scenario 4. We've already completed scenario 4 where we picked up Ivan the Barbarian as our hero that we could hire in the taverns. And so now it is on to scenario 3, the Wayward Son. Let's view the intro just as a reminder to see where we're at and what we have to do in this instance.
King Jarconus III, grandson of Athenia, lay on his deathbed and pondered the fate of his weak struggle with its enemies had taken a heavy toll. He knew that if the kingdom were to again prosper, it would need aid from distant relatives. The final choice he had to make was this: send help to recruit crazy Uncle Ivan the warmonger and his barbarian clan, or send a search party out to look for the family's wayward son, Joseph, a wizard of some repute.
And so, whereas before we took Ivan the Barbarian, now we will be taking Joseph the Wizard. And we really had a lot of success with Ivan. I could not imagine having completed the rest of these scenarios without having a level 5 hero to start off with that we could hire straight out of the tavern. But Joseph is going to present a lot of unique and different gaming strategies. There's always going to be a higher value placed on those exterior mines, because you have to have all of the various resources so that way you can upgrade your mages guild. And we're going to have to be smart with our troops, but also make sure that we are able to use the magic effectively. And there's a lot of places that you can go wrong. You can absolutely make a lot of, less than ideal choices, and we're not here to min-max the game, and yet magic has a higher likelihood of messing you up than might. So, Scenario 3, the Wayward Son. Find your wayward son, Joseph, who is rumored to be living in the desolate lands. Do it before the first day of the 3rd month, or it will be of no help to your family. We have no other awards at this time, and we have the choice between basic logistics, steel skin, or the mage's ring. Let's go to the dice roll and see what the dice have to say for us. We will be choosing with our number 4. That will be steel skin. Whether that's a good choice or not, I'm not sure. But let's make sure our difficulty is on hard, and folks, let's dive right on in. Interesting. We start off with 3 heroes. We start off with Roger the Barbarian. That's not my name. That's not my name. And we also have Natasha the Sorceress. So Roger looks to be a pretty good hero. He looks to be like your main kind of starting hero, especially indicated by the fact that that's a different name that goes with his portrait. Usually it's Ergon the Barbarian. Natasha seems to be fairly normal. She has weaker troops. Does she start off with any additional spells? She's the one that starts off with that steel skin. That's pretty interesting. And then we have Ari the Warlock, who's a level 1 Warlock. All 3 of our heroes are level 1, but we do have some fairly good troops here on Roger the Barbarian. Roger is currently taking the lead. How we're going to do this, I'm not quite sure. But let's just kind of start off into this lava here and see where we go. I do see right off the gate, we have Ocean present. So it may come down to the Sorceress being very important for us. Dark clouds loom overhead as you enter this valley. Alrighty. Maybe what we'll do... Maybe what I'm going to do, just while I'm thinking about it, is I recognize that Ari has these very fast gargoyles. He's got the scouting. We're probably going to let him cook. We're going to let him go on ahead as much as possible. And so next turn, he's going to start off with 1,400 movement points, whereas everyone else is going to have 1,100 here on Roger and 1,000 here on Natasha. So we're going to make that slight adjustment there and just let Ari lead the way from here on out. Blue player, you have lost your last town. If you do not conquer another town in the next week, you will be eliminated. These lands are desolate and, for the most part, devoid of resources. Not even the bravest heroes dare to venture into them, and plants are rare and precious here. Who knows what else awaits? 7 days left. Okay. I'm going to step forward here. I don't think that, yep, we can't get through because Roger is currently there. Let's just step through just far enough so that Ari can get by. And we will say, Ari, tell us what you see. And he sees a demon cave. We see this artifact here on the ground. That's a spell scroll there. More demon caves there. We're just going to go straight along this path. And immediately I see the stone liths. That's kind of interesting. What to make of that? I think that with all of these troops here, probably unfortunately not mixing the troops any further than this because it will negatively affect my morale. I will take out these demon caves. I sure think I can. And so I don't see any reason why I should not. This spell scroll is a little bit of an unknown. So Roger does not have a spell book. So this artifact is not going to help him out at all. But in this instance, with no damaging spells and not a whole lot of use that I could maybe get out of the Bless and the Steelskin, I'm going to go with Roger instead of Natasha leading my forces now. The entrance to the cave is dark, and a foul, sulphurous smell issues from the cave's mouth. Will you enter? Yes, I will. You find a powerful and grotesque demon in the cave. Today, it rasps. You will fight and surely die, but I will give you a choice of deaths. You may fight me, or you may fight my servants. Do you prefer to fight my servants? I do, because I don't want to leave this one up to chance. It looks like this is going to be a glorious battle. It will be a total of 8 earth elementals. I'm thinking that we can fight this fight without any losses, though. Let's use our ranged troops to our advantage. Let's try to have these ogre lords and these dwarves take the brunt of the offensive, and then we will go from there. As it stands, earth elementals are a very tough unit. As far as, from one elemental to the other, which one's best, which one's worst, there is no best or worst per se. I would say the fire elementals are probably the least well-rounded, or at least, though they may be well-rounded, they don't specialize in any one thing in a very particular way. Of course, earth elementals are the most defensive of all the elementals. Air elementals, I would say, are the most damage oriented. At least they have the highest range from top to bottom. And so, which is better, which is worse, it's really up to you. There's a lot of different schools of thought, and it really does, of course, depend on the circumstance, which unfortunately is a little bit of a cop-out answer, as I'm sure we are all aware of. Anytime you say, well, it depends, well, lots of things depend, and that doesn't mean that you're giving me a good answer. As it stands, we were able to lose absolutely no troops. 2,500 gold. How important is 2,500 gold when we have no town? I ask you. I'm a little concerned about this artifact here. If I go and I pick it up and there's rogues that hop out and attack me, that could prove to be my downfall. And I'd much rather not lose a hero here this early. I know that that's me being very cautious, but I don't think caution is a bad move in this instance. So neither Ari nor Natasha is going to pick up this spell scroll. We are going to go through these stone liths, though. Very interesting. We see a boat, we see treasure chests, and we see a hut of the Magi. Let's go immediately to this hut of the Magi. You enter a rickety hut and talk to the magician who lives there. He tells you of places near and far which may aid you in your journeys. And so we see... Oh boy, look at this. It looks like a sort of... it looks like maybe like a land bridge peninsula that perhaps leads up to this area here, where if you are able to get a blue tent, you can get through this blue barrier and probably into the lands where Joseph is. That's my initial guess, but I'm also seeing a boat here. I think that the treasure chests are probably not nearly so important at this time. Knowing that Natasha has the navigation, let's get her in that boat as soon as possible. And because I know that she's going to go right there, I'll have her explore the rest of this land. Let's have Ari jump up this way as soon as possible, just to see if there's anything up that way. As it stands, let's continue to clear out these demon caves. I'm not going to treat you to a second retelling of this story. In the same way that we were able to take no losses this last time, let's see if we can do the same thing. What's different? This is the exact same fight, right? The exact same number of earth elementals, the exact same types of my troops. Nothing should be different. And yet, this is absolutely not guaranteed to be a victory with no losses. And why is that? Immediately I can see that the terrain is very, very different from this battle to the previous one. And that's a big difference. That's a huge difference. Now, how big of a problem is that going to be for me? I don't know just yet. I just don't know. But I'm trying to keep my Ogre Lords who have the 4 speed out this far. I'm not going to send the wolves into my death, and we will see what these 3 speed earth elementals will do. If they're just going to try and slowly creep up, or if they are going to put themselves into harm's way and maybe put themselves in a position where I can really do some damage. And it looks like they opt to kind of do a little bit of a rush here, which I think is absolutely the correct move. I'm very happy to see that. I think that that's an example to me that the AI is working as intended. We're going to skip here with these wolves. They could get in there and do some serious damage, but then they will take some shots. As much as possible, I'm trying to avoid that. Same thing with the sprites. Very, very fragile units. Let's let our Ogre Lords, let's let our Dwarves take some damage. And we do have this little bit of terrain right here. I wasn't quite sure if we would be able to go without retribution. I wasn't sure if this was like a 3 hex kind of a deal. Unfortunately, on this terrain here on the lava, it's a little bit unclear what is passable terrain and what is not. But once again, we are able to fight that fight with no losses. And I sincerely appreciate the folks who say, Fix Fox, it's 2 dwarves. It's not a big deal. It's 1 wolf. It's not a big deal. And yes and no. Especially when I don't know what I'm going to be up against, I feel very, very much like I need to save all the troops I can just to be wise. Maybe it will matter later. Maybe it doesn't matter right now, but maybe it will matter later. We find an elaborate container which houses an old vellum scroll. The runes on the container are very old, and the artistry with which it was put together is stunning. As you pull the scroll out, you feel imbued with magical power. This is the summon boat spell. That's excellent. That's very excellent. And I'm going to take the time to go over to Natasha and just send that over to her. Really, I think it's probably best on her. Is it better on someone else? Is it better on someone else? Should Aerie take this? I mean, I know that we have this 1 boat here. In case that Natasha runs into some problems, maybe we have Aerie take that spell, because he's got a spell book. Yeah, let's do that. Let's actually have the spell scroll go here, and let's split off one of these stacks of creatures here. Oh, and then let's do it like this. We're going to lose the speed, but that way if we run into a problem, we're going to lose anyway. So let's not sacrifice the speed, but let's have Aerie go through the stone liths again and continue on up his way. I'm still going to plan on Aragon being my primary hero, and so until I know what I can do with these treasure chests, I'm going to assume that we could potentially use those for experience. There are 2 boats here. Let's take one more step out of our way. I don't know how important treasure will be, but note that we still have to go find a castle. Maybe Aerie's going to find that right now. Okay, and that actually tells me a ton. That tells me an awful lot. So, I had supposed that this would be a land bridge. That was absolutely incorrect. But now, since we have this spell scroll, we're gonna go through these boats with Aerie. No, we're not, because Roger can't use the spell scroll because he doesn't have a magic book unless this town has one. And so, of the heroes that have to stay and of the heroes that have to go, Roger has to go first, because there's only 2 boats and we have 3 heroes. So, unless there's a boat right here, there's not. Let's just hop in the boat now and let's have Natasha begin to carry on. Okay, this is one of those times where if we had played this map before, or if we remembered, then this would be a lot quicker. Our strategy would be much different. We would have gotten this town already. We would have probably already pushed into the boat area. As it stands, we're doing okay. We're maybe a couple of days behind, but that's okay. This village is in extremely poor shape. There's no chance of getting more than some of the lesser creatures here. Good to know. And yet somehow they're able to do some significant damage to me. Let's just see how this goes. Let's see. Let's go into, because we have flyer, and then ranged, it doesn't matter where these wolves go. If they want a piece of me, they're going to get a piece of me. So let's just move into the place where we can threaten to be effective next time. That's pretty unfortunate. There's a part of me that wants to attack these griffins because they haven't gone yet. But then there's a part of me that says, you know what, if these sprites can just stick on these centaurs, we'll be okay, because the rest of these troops should be able to press our advantage otherwise. With 2 gargoyles left, they're not going to be able to do a whole ton there. And then any damage that goes onto these ogre lords is just going to be wasted. So 3 wolves, that is an improvement over what we had previously. We will take it. Leadership, especially since we're mixing troops, we will plan on doing that. I can check to see there's a mage guild here. And so we are going to step inside of this town. We're going to buy the spell book. View resources, view artifacts, bloodlust, dragon slayer, disrupting ray, curse. These spells feel a little bit disjointed. I don't have in my Rolodex of spell synergies. I don't necessarily have a whole lot of synergies that take place here. Bloodlust is always good for a barbarian. Curse is always a decent spell if there's one enemy that you're super concerned about, and disrupting ray if there's one really powerful, strong enemy. I guess we're going to cast the view artifacts and the view resources right out of the gate. The town cannot be upgraded. We do have centaurs, gargoyles, and griffins. None of those that we want to purchase at this time. And so the gold is not going to be too big of a deal, I don't think, anyway. This is all going to be experience. There's a dungeon over here. That's going to be sufficient for our needs. I know that we could probably go to this corner and pick up some of this flotsam, but since I don't have a town to upgrade, why? And I really can't answer you that. It looks like the map makers have decided that we're not going to be able to simply land wherever we want to, and that's always good map design. Whenever you have boats introduced into a map like this, it's a little bit interesting, and you do have to ask yourself, how am I going to find a way to make sure that I have boats, but they don't break the map? Let's see. As soon as Natasha lands in a place that she can actually get some play on, we might have Roger go forth. But for now, since he does not have the summon boat spell, I do want to be smart with my movement points at sea, and I want to be smart with my use of summon boat. Who's got it? Who's in the boat? Who's out there? Should I just pick up this treasure chest now? I don't think so. I really do think I want Aragon to get there. He's just going to be slow. So let's actually have Ari go back. He's going to pick up the rest of those troops. He's just going to be that designated warlock hero. I think that's what we're going to do. Okay, so Roger's going through. Ari as a scout is kind of going up. I still don't hate the decision to have Natasha be this primary explorer because of her navigation. Ari, of course, has the scouting. He could see farther, but she's going to be able to travel farther. And overall, I think that that's going to be the better of the 2 choices. There is a little bit of a time concern that we still have to deal with. If we recall from the scenario information, we have before the first day of the 3rd month. And so we do have to be mindful of our time. But so far, we're doing okay. We are on pace. Should I get the scouting or should I get the pathfinding? Cracked Earth, I think you have no penalty once you have advanced pathfinding. It's swamp, it's desert for sure that you need the expert pathfinding. What's the likelihood we're going to run into desert? So far we see cracked earth and volcanoes. Volcanic. I'm going to take the pathfinding, just in case. That's my thought process there, but I'm trying to use whatever clues I have to figure out, what's the best decision? What should I consider doing? And that's, as far as I can tell, my best bet. We do have this lighthouse here with this artifact, with that treasure chest. Maybe there's something over around here, but our primary hero is going to have to go fight a pack of royal mummies, it looks like. This is just more or less to waste time, it feels like. I feel like my time is a little bit wasted. So, if that was the intention, good job. And yet, no problems. It doesn't feel frustrating. There was a map not too long ago where we were required to go through swamps and then logistically move our troops from the front to the back until we were eventually able to find a maelstrom, a whirlpool that we could get through, and then resupply from afar. Quite frankly, that felt like torture. This just feels like, you know, hey, suck it up and do the very, very best you can with what you have. Might as well pick up this flotsam, because with this army, I don't see Natasha doing much else. I really don't. I'm probably not going to have Roger land up here to pick up this lighthouse. I'm definitely not going to waste any troops to the Sirens. Do I take just one step out of my way? I think not. I think Aerie can make that happen. Let's take the 1,500 gold. Just want to make sure there was nothing there. And then let's immediately set sail after Natasha goes. Maybe she will help us peer through the darkness and navigate our way as best as possible. Looks like not. Okay. Might as well clear out this uncharted territory. Anytime I see some uncharted territory in the water, I do get a little bit concerned, because I've had some experiences where you do miss things. There are objects in the water, and you had your opportunity to get them. You did not take that opportunity, and now you're sad. But it looks like I'm going to just guess that there's nothing too much there. And otherwise, let's have Aerie head back, and he's ultimately going to be the main supplier. I guess he has the summon boat spell, so I did do that correctly. Whoever lands, I'm not going to need to worry too much about getting the boats back. He will be able to come back with boats when he's able to resupply, when it's time. When it's time. When that will be, I'm not quite sure. You have captured a mischievous imp who has been terrorizing the region. In exchange for his release, he rewards you with a magical coin. This is the gambler's lucky coin. It increases your luck in combat. This reads very strangely to me. He rewards you with a magical coin. He rewards me because I released him? But I released him even though I should have, like, dealt with him because he's been terrorizing the region? Reward feels like the wrong word. Yeah, reward just feels like the wrong word there. Okay. Let's get back on track. The lighthouse is now under your control, and all of your ships will now move further each day. I could have picked that up earlier. I don't really regret not picking it up earlier. Maybe I should not be taking the gold here. That's the third or fourth treasure chest I've taken. Maybe I shouldn't have been taking treasure chests this whole time, because by doing so, I'm setting myself up for success later, but right now, what's the point? And really, I don't think I have much point. So long as I have enough gold to purchase these troops every week, which, so long as I have that dungeon, I think I always will, then any extra gold that I have until I get a new town, it's just extra. It's just absolutely extra. This is the final army I want to kind of land with. And again, I know that Natasha's the one that has this steel skin and this bless. I think you'd be much worse off if you had her as your primary hero here. I really think you would. I think that if you don't have Roger, you're really causing yourself some grief. So let's continue to do this. Will I land here again? I think so. Yeah, let's wait a second, but let's have both of our heroes land. And then I was postulating earlier, well, when will Aerie make it to the front with his summoned boat? And I do not know the answer to that. But I'm seeing some ghosts right here. I'm wondering if I have to go through ghosts, these armies, I'm going to have to think really good and hard about who I end up taking. And I would much rather have gargoyles and griffins. Maybe now is actually the time. Maybe now is the time I head down, so that way, if I need to, Natasha can hop in the boat, and she need not land, but we can do a shore to ocean trade and figure out how best to proceed without having level 1 troops facing some very scary ghosts. I've mentioned in the past that mummies are a troop that I always underestimate, and then I've mentioned in that same breath that ghosts are the troop that I usually overestimate. But I would always recommend extreme caution when dealing with ghosts, because ghosts are always going to be a little bit of a concern. They are like a grease fire. If you know how to handle them, okay, you should be all right. But if you don't know how to handle them, then things can get out of control very, very quickly. And that's the last thing that anybody wants. We don't want to have to deal with that kind of grease fire. Saving these sprites is going to be important. These sprites can be critically important if we go up against some ranged troops. So for now, we're keeping them very, very far out of the fight. That is not their job. Their job is not to worry about any of that. As much as possible, let's let these Ogre Lords take these fights. Even if I lose one, that's okay. But let's keep the rest of all my other troops here. They are bloodlusted. 30 hit points there, 30 hit points there. Let's kill 3 to 4 and plan on losing 1 Ogre Lord. Oh, almost. And then we will start working on this largest stack over here. Wolves are probably going to kill 2 here. Yep, they're definitely going to kill 2 here. And I'm not sure actually, are these mummies going to want to attack wolves or kill 1 Ogre Lord? I don't know the answer. They cannot kill these wolves just simply on the retaliation. Let's make them make a choice. They chose the 1 Ogre Lord, and I don't hate that decision on their part. Okay, we're going to take the luck over the scouting. This is the second time we've had scouting available, but we're going to definitely take the luck. Something about that damage multiplier just feels so very nice. And especially when I have a second hero who I'm kind of working in tandem with, it does not concern me to see what ought I to do. Multiple heroes can make good use of scouting. If I have one hero, scouting has a much greater value. But if that's not the case, I don't worry about it nearly so much. Let me consider here. Just Ogre Lords I don't think can beat ghosts, but 20 hit points with 2 base defense. I'm not taking the wolves, I'm not taking the sprites. The dwarves, I mean, I will take them, but they're pretty weak. They're pretty bad to ghosts. Orc chiefs are pretty similar. I think really want to wait on these ghosts. And so I'm going to just go back with Natasha, and we're going to do this quick back and forth. And in fact, Roger's going to come back on here now. And so we're going to save as much time as possible logistically as Natasha goes, because I think she can go here and back all in one turn. It looks like so far so good. Let's keep the 1 Centaur. And then though he will maintain this spell scroll, Ari has done a good job. We're going to head back with him now. Thankfully, we don't have to go through the stone lifts and all the way around. That would be a mistake. We have this nice little shore right here. That will be just fine. And then let's land. How far can she get? I'm guessing that she can get fairly far. Ooh, very nice. You come across an old wagon left by a trader who didn't quite make it to safe terrain. Searching inside, you find the giant flail of Dominion. That's going to be a +1 to attack. The thought process I was going there was, do I pick up the troops now, or do I head this way and let her meet me along the road? We are going to let Natasha meet us along the road, because I do believe she can get to... if I go to right here, I'm guessing she's still going to be able to reach me. She's going to get to right here next turn. And that's just fine. Okay. And that way we are able to kind of stay ahead of the curve. And let's make sure that, again, all of the weak troops are here on Natasha, all the strong troops. And I do consider griffins and gargoyles to be strong troops because of their high defense and their pretty good hit points. Gonna get rid of pretty much everybody else. Do we get rid of the dwarves? Do we get rid of the dwarves? Yeah, we will get rid of the dwarves. If for no other reason than average, very fast. And since the dwarves are slow, that's going to give the first stack of ghosts always the advantage on the second and third and fourth round of combats if it gets that far. So keeping the very slow creatures out of the army is actually more important. So that way my ogres or my griffins are going to get to go first every time. Now, which goes first? So the gargoyles are going to go first in this fight all the time. 6 speed, 4 speed, 4 speed, and then ghosts are 4 speed. Do I want the Griffins to go before the Ogre Lords or the Ogre Lords to go before the Griffins? I think we want the Ogre Lords to go first. And yet I want the Ogre Lords here in this second spot. So that's the way we're going to do this. Even though I want the Ogre Lords here, I think that I'm weighing out my options and this feels more correct. So that's what we are going to go with. All these troops are going to stay on Natasha, and I'm probably overthinking this fight a lot. But again, if this is a grease fire, you don't mess around with a grease fire. You do not mess around with a grease fire. Last thing though, let me just split these gargoyles. Give myself a little bit of additional flexibility. Yeah, I was definitely overthinking it, and yet, do I regret it? No, not at all. Oh, that's sweet. That's very nice. I'm always happy to see that. No spells to be cast here. We're probably not going to kill another whole stack of ghosts there, but we did our best. And actually, this is nice. If you're going to focus on my Griffins, who are going to retaliate every single time, this fight goes a lot quicker than I would have otherwise thought. Okay, we still lose the 2 Griffins, but that's the way that fight goes. And now we reconvene. Natasha's just going to have to catch up. Phoenixes are guarding gems. There must be another town nearby. Roger's going to have to, unfortunately, wait one more turn because I do want to have those armies reconvene so that we can get the best possible force moving forward. And Natasha is slow on Cracked Earth because she has all these penalties, whereas Aragon has no such penalties. Okay. I think we definitely want the Centaurs. We definitely want the Orc Chiefs at the moment. I think that this is actually our fighting force, and this looks pretty good. All these other troops we're going to save for now, especially, again, those sprites, because those can be very useful later. Do I go up? I see standing stones. Yeah, spell power on barbarians is really excellent. Very hard to turn down. And it looks like there's another town here to deal with, which is very nice. This village appears to be in a little better shape than the first one you saw. As you approach the village, an old man hands you a slip of paper with the following message. Joseph lives in the town of Island Home. Is Island Home right here, or is it on an island? I hear Island Home and I immediately think, probably on an island. Then again, I do know that there's a beautiful place called Iceland and a beautiful place called Greenland, and for some reason, there's more green on Iceland and more ice on Greenland. So, how much can I really put stock into the name of certain things? I ask you. Okay, we do see bone dragons right there. Wow, if there's ghost dragons in Heroes Might and Magic 2, there's some serious stuff going on. But we will be forced to deal with that soon. I'm not worried about this Hydra. I'm not worried. Let's see, what am I worried about? 1, 2, 3, 4. I can attack these Centaurs right now, or I can attack these Gargoyles. They've got a pretty good defensive skill. Should I Bloodlust here, or should I Disrupting Array here? I think that if I Bloodlust my Gargoyles, it'll be better for me, because then I have the +3 attack instead of them having the -3 defense. So the damage modification is still going to be the same range, but then I'm going to for sure do more damage to these Centaurs. And right now I'm just here to attack these Gargoyles and then jam up these Centaurs. Hopefully I will take the retaliation and we will kill a whole bunch of them. Let's take out these troops that haven't gone yet. And unfortunately, because we did that, these Minotaurs are going to be able to get all the way through to our Gargoyles. That's an extra Gargoyle lost. But you cannot make a cake without breaking a few eggs. Let's let our shooters go. It's going to take just a little bit longer, but it's going to be so easy. We might as well just wait. So 2 Gargoyles, not a bad fallout. Oh my goodness. We're going to step in here just so I can see. How far can I see? Wow. Lots of bone dragons, several phoenixes, but here's gems. Are gems going to help us here? Not in this town. We do see the Minotaur Kings. We see the Griffins. Let's immediately pick up the Griffins. Oh, we'll pick up the Minotaur Kings now. Who would the Minotaur Kings replace? I think that you'd take the Minotaur Kings over the Orc Chiefs. I love having these Orc Chiefs, but I've got two flyers here. And now I have some excellent and often replenishing 4th level creatures who are upgraded. So overall, it's pretty good for me. This is a great mage guild. I know that we don't have any enemy heroes on this map. We are the only person here. We're not worried about an AI player out there doing whatever. This is just simply get through this map RPG style and find people. So view heroes is not going to be helpful at all. But having Steel Skin, Bless, a damaging spell with the Cold Ray, View Minds. Let's cast all 3 of these spells. Should we wait overnight here? No, we should not. Let's have Natasha actually come back. I know that I want to get these griffins. I'm going to ignore these bone dragons for now because I don't really think it's going to matter. Do I need treasure? Not really, but it would be very nice to know where some of these other things might be. So Natasha's going to head back, pick up those spells, and then cast it to see if we can figure out where some mines are for us. Oh, we'll accept this 1 griffin loss. Eagle Eye with no enemies. What do you think? I think not. This artifact is terrific. It is unfortunately guarded by a nearby paladin. Do I want to fight the paladin? I do. Unless he gets good morale, there is no reason to be concerned about this gentleman here. He does not get that good morale. I suppose with that terrain, even if he had, we wouldn't have had any problems. The Traveler's Boots of Mobility, I believe that's an extra 300 movement points. We have 1,600 movement points at the beginning of every turn here now. Aragon, especially with his pathfinding, is absolutely cruising through this map. He is just the fastest you've ever seen anyone go. We're going to pick up all these troops, and we're going to start this long march. Now is the time where we're going to use our summon boat. We're going to get one of these boats back, and then we're going to make sure that the summon boat is on this side of the channel, so that way, if someone over here needs to summon a boat, one of these boats up here or over there, then we have it. I can see that being one of those tricky things that if you don't think about, or if you don't foresee that being a problem, it can cost you some time. There's an artifact here. I can't tell what it is. That's really one thing that I would love to see implemented in FHeroes2. For anyone who's listening and who wants my opinion on the matter, FHeroes2 has done a great job of providing lots of additional information in the game. You can right-click on, standing stones and it says already visited, wagons already visited, buoys not visited, windmills, water mills, anything. You have this additional information. Why not help me understand what this artifact is? Oftentimes I'll see it hidden, but there's no way you can make out what that is. I know that there's an artifact there when I right click, but I don't know what it is. That would be one of those times where I don't think it would be a terrible thing to at least say under the artifact what it is. I know that would probably be very difficult because you'd have to go through on every single artifact and make it its own special thing. And yet that would be a huge quality of life buff that would still stay with the original intent of the game, in my humble opinion. Okay. Let's see what we have here. I know that the AI said that I'm going to lose griffins, which is a little strange. I would think that they would attack my centaurs, but then again, perhaps they know more than I do. I am going to use that information, and I'm going to cast the Steel Skin. I understand that feels a little bit bad in the sense that, well, FixFox, you're using the battle information there to your advantage in an interesting way. Why are you doing that? Yeah, I am. But I've really debated on that topic an awful lot about whether or not I should have the auto battler on with the option to refight fights or not. It just saves too much time. I've said that before as well, but it saves too much time. Pausing to rest and light a cook fire, you pull wood out of a nearby pile of dead wood. As you keep pulling wood from the pile, you notice that it doesn't shrink. You realize to your delight that the wood is enchanted, so you take it along. This is pretty big. We don't have any mines at all. We have one gold mine, so we got plenty of gold coming in. If we find a marketplace, if we find a trading post, this could be pretty important to start generating some resources. There are resources here that I've never really gotten. Perhaps it should be Aries' job to go and get those. Perhaps it should. Tell you what, we're going to have Natasha come on in here. She's going to pick up these spells that we can learn as she heads kind of down this way. Because again, I want her to have the summon boat spell. Let's cast View Minds. Wait a second. She never stepped in our other town. So she doesn't have, I mean, she has View Heroes. Hey, look, no heroes on the map. Interesting. But View Minds. Okay, gold up here. We don't really care about gold. We don't really care about gold here. Sulfur. Interesting. I'm guessing that we've seen 2 Warlock villages so far. I'm guessing we're going to see a Warlock castle, and that these sulfur mines are going to be very, very important. I'm guessing that will be very important later. Okay, so maybe then I just don't worry about this wood or this chest. There could be an artifact in that chest. If I have additional time, we'll do something. For now, though, let's just continue on. This is always worth the experience, so it's going a little bit out of my way on a timed map. That doesn't worry me too much. I do feel a little bad that I have to babysit each of these fights to make sure I don't lose any troops. If every single fight that I fought, I wasn't losing 2 gargoyles here and there, we'd be cruising through this map. As it stands, I do need to make sure that there's no problems. I really do. Because, yeah, it's only 2 gargoyles, but by now, if I had done that in 4 fights, I would already have down into the teens for these gargoyles, maybe down into the teens for these griffins. I don't think I need to explain why that would feel much worse than it does now. Okay, since we've let them kind of come across the battlefield, we are now going to pounce. I don't think we're going to take any losses on any of these fights. And because we get to go first in all accounts, I definitely don't think we're going to. Okay. Expert leadership, always a good time, every time. There's some desert. I feel vindicated by taking the pathfinding. Do I go up or to the east? I don't think I know. Does it matter? I think eventually I'm going to want to get this blue barrier. I'm guessing that there's not like some little spit of land going this way. I'm guessing everything goes this way. So let's clear from west to east just to see if there's anything kind of in this corner area. Looks like no. And then we head straight east and we feel good about that decision. Okay. Secondary hero logistics is a big deal, but it does take some time. Diplomacy. Diplomacy is interesting on this map. Because we have so much gold, diplomacy might be good. It might be good. Right now, I don't think I have much in my army that I would want to really part with at the moment, but it could be good. We're going to avoid this tree of knowledge for now. I just don't want to pick it up yet. If I wait a little bit longer, the value could be a little bit higher. That's just kind of my thought process there. Oh, we will summon the boat. Actually, view resources. Wow, look at this. More gems, some wood, and that looks like pure gold. Gold. And maybe an artifact in the middle. Very interesting spell. Am I going to need that much gold? What could I possibly need that much gold for? Yep, I was right. There's an artifact there, and then one more here. Not a lot of artifacts on this map. Not a lot of artifacts. Very interesting, I must tell you. I think it's very interesting that there was a very purposeful choice made for the price of loyalty maps. And here's what the choice was. In a map design philosophy, you find, or at least it's been my experience that I have found, that the price of loyalty campaigns used much less artifacts. Now, why would you do that? Well, if you use less artifacts in your maps, then there are less opportunities for one player, either the AI or the actual human player, to get lucky with an amazing artifact. And I think that the less artifacts you have out there, then the less variance you have from map to map. And so the map designers know more how these maps are going to play out. And I think that was a purposeful choice. In the other scenarios, it really felt like it was a little bit, I don't want to say willy-nilly, but it was like, yeah, you want artifacts. That's part of the game. We want that to be exciting. And it was. It's very exciting. It's very exciting. But I think you also run into some issues, which is just kind of something to be considering. These dwarves are never going to be useful again. They're only going to slow us down. These wolves, they're only going to slow us down. These sprites, because I've got the griffins and the gargoyles, I talked about how they might be very, very important to have some flyers. We're going to be just fine. I think I get rid of the sprites just so that way Arius always going to have the fastest army he can possibly have. Okay, and then Natasha's going to head up. But truly, I really think that that's what happened, is that way the maps are less swingy, they're more consistent, and there's less opportunities for things to go awry. Oh, another town. This is a wizard town. Let's get this town immediately. This rundown village looks like it was once the epicenter of an enormous but now ruined city. Under a pile of rubble, you find an object which looks like it has lain there for ages. This mage's ring is a +2 to spell power. Worth noting, you could have gotten the mage's ring as your choice here. We could have had 2 mage's rings. Just interesting. It's not a problem. Look at these troops, though. I think that we're probably not going to have a mage's tower here in this this town. But I think that the faster we're able to get to these towns, the less troops we're ultimately going to have to fight over time. And that's kind of interesting. Just a thought. Call it not a bonus. Call it a reward for being speedy. Those boards are just a little bit frustrating. These golems are a little bit frustrating too. Let's steel skin our gargoyles here. We're going to take so little damage on the retaliation in both of these instances. It's still going to be damage, but it's going to be much better than the alternative. Now, these griffins are going to get to go before the halflings. 6/6. Their golems are going to go last, and so my Minotaur Kings are going to get to go first. Let's still kill 5 to 10 of these boars, and maybe we'll get some good morale somewhere. Perchance. Okay. Everything worked out just the way we wanted it to. Wonderful. 11 hit points left. I'm just going to back off. Again, it's cowardly, I suppose, but I've got these very high hit point troops. They will take care of these golems without any problems, and we need not lose any more griffins or gargoyles. Okay. So 3 gargoyles lost. The steel skin did help. 1, 2, 3 sets of ruins. Very interesting. I was wrong, and I'm happy to be wrong. 8 arc magi. Very interesting. Very interesting. So, I made a mistake. And the mistake is that I have the barbarian leading all my troops when I have this mage guild present. Resurrect True alone makes this it was a poor decision from the beginning. I need either Ari or Natasha. Wow. Had I known. Summon boat. So let's get Natasha over here immediately. Wow. Okay. As it stands, we can kind of mosey around for a moment here. Wow. Maybe this, guarded by lots of bone dragons, and then this huge pack of gold. Maybe there's also treasure chests over there. Maybe that's going to be a useful way for the game to say, okay, you made a mistake. You should have taken one of your 2 mages as your primary hero. You didn't. That's on you, but we can still rectify this situation. I'm guessing that that's kind of what that is. Let's leave the Ogre Lords here. I don't think that we're going to end up using Ogre Lords any longer. I really don't. Especially when you have the Arc Magi available. They're going to do just fine for themselves. And then these ruins, we're gonna pick that up at some point. I do want to explore this corner here just a little bit, make sure there's nothing crazy down here. Blue tent. Very useful. We enter the tent and see an old woman gazing into a magic gem. She looks up and says, "In my travels, I have learned much in the way of arcane magic. A great oracle taught me his skill. I have the answers you seek." And I'm just considering how we're going to end up using all these ruins. I'm not quite sure. It's not... Okay, and let's talk real quick. Is this necessary to win this fight? this map? Maybe. I mean, but we're going down the path of magic instead of might. This kind of can impress upon you if this is your first time playing through that no, really, from here on out, you're choosing Joseph instead of Ivan. And so you need to focus on your magic. Maybe this is just that kind of kick in the pants, that little bit of a reminder that, hey, if you haven't seen 4th or 5th level spells in these playthroughs yet, buddy, probably a good idea to start using them. And that makes a little bit of sense to me anyway. Month of the Centaur. You send this letter back to the king. A month has passed, and we have not discovered the wizard Joseph. I only hope that we are able to locate him in time to aid us in our struggle. Only a month remains in which to find Joseph. What? Oh, you're right. For some reason, I thought 3 months was different. Huh, okay. So we don't really have time. We do not have time. Let's continue on with this army. I think I'm going to... It's... okay. We're going to continue on. I'm feeling a little bit of time pressure. And so, even though I'm thinking to myself, look, I would love to get this treasure. I'd love to get Natasha to be my primary hero. I've already devoted so many levels to this individual. I think I'm going to have enough army. I think I'm going to be able to kind of push through, especially with these Medusas here. How to do it, I'm not quite sure. Gems for Phoenixes. Gems for Phoenixes. If I fight the Phoenixes, I'm going to take damage because they're a 7-speed creature. I don't think we even fight them. I think that we pick up our troops here, and then we head out this way, and then later we'll have some other troops, some other heroes, excuse me, who will come on through and get these ruins. Wow, it looks like a pack of centaurs spawned in front of every single one of these ruins. Not my favorite thing. Nope, we're not gonna pay. Wait a second, hold on. Wait. You have so much gold. Why wouldn't you be paying for centaurs right now if you already have space in your army? What are you doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? We're going to take the archery just for that reason, and we still have a couple of spots left. I should have been taking these centaurs. If they want to join me, I should have been letting them join me. I was on autopilot. 100% I was on autopilot there. That was an opportunity that I didn't even think about until I already potentially lost 2 stacks. But there should be plenty more where that came from on this map, starting with right here. Knowing that I have so much gold, I'm going to accept those. I'm going to accept that. What else am I going to spend my money on? I think I have everything else I need at the moment, so I'm not going to worry too much. Okay. Ares going to head back. Again, just trying to move troops to the front. Yeah. Okay, not too bad. Not too bad. I don't think I'm going to want to recruit any other troops, but I went from 40 up to like 68. That's not too bad. Yeah, if I could get that moment back, I think I would. I think it'd be worth my time, really, to do things just a little bit differently there. Because, you know, if you have ranged troops, that's one of the best ways you can mitigate damage. Because the enemies, especially these slower enemies, are going to have to come down the battlefield one by one. And so there's no harm in just blasting them to bits from afar. Look at this morale. Look at this luck. Blood and Irish morale and luck, respectively. My word. Okay. And the same deal with these steel golems. There can be so many steel golems, and it's not going to matter because they're just going to get blown to bits before they can do much of anything. This indicates that we're going to probably end up putting a boat into this area over here. Lots of steel golems. Okay. Nothing special there. We don't really need the diplomacy. We do have the blue barrier now, though. Should I split my armies? Maybe I should split my armies because we got the blue tent there to the right. This is nice. We have a observation tower that just popped up on the map right before we got here. I know that we've been talking about, you know, concerns with time and concerns with, you know, final armies. I think we're going to be okay, especially on the time limit. And unless we come across some very difficult enemies, I think we're going to be okay. Again, I'm expecting there to be some castle at the very end that is warlocks and has tons of black dragons. Call it a hunch. But noting that there was 3 sulfur mines just off to the side there, I think that that tips the hand. And I think that that tells me everything I need to know about what I can expect for how this map should finish off. So long as we don't fall into any traps, and again, maintain our army sizes, I think we'll be okay. Oh, I have to go all the way around. Okay, let's get this observation tower first and foremost. They're going to make darn sure that I don't get to waltz right through this. I'm starting to get into some fairly decent stacks of these steel golems. But when I'm doing that, it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter. Oh my word. 1, 1, 5, and 5 plus terrain. 5. 5. And then from here, I'm not worried about my griffins taking any damage. Okay. Ballistics or navigation. I think that we've fought a couple of fights with hounds here. And so let's just take that. What's this? Island home. That's the one. And then our ultimate goal is going to be to get through a pack of titans. It looks like we can put a boat into this area. Oh, we're just fine. We got a couple more weeks to make this happen. There's a trading post. Horde of Medusa. I don't think that's really worth it. Freeman's Foundry. Trading post. We're going to get this one gold mine because it's right here. It's right here. And I know there's 1, 2, 3, 4, but what else am I going to use the gold on? How many is a horde of Medusa? A horde is anywhere between 50 to 100. If it's 99, that's too many, and I don't want to tangle with them. Not with this army. But if it's exactly 50, I think I could beat them. It wouldn't be without any losses or without any risk, but I mean, is it really worth it? Is it really necessary? I suppose is the real question. I don't have enough information to make the appropriate decision there. I do not. So this gold mine feels fairly free. Even that one feels fairly free. If I have another hero come out this way, Natasha, for example, I could... Oh, I could have them... I want to get this magic well, and so then I might as well fight this horde, and I'll give myself just enough time to let Natasha get on over here. And again, Ari is doing his job the best as he can to just get troops to the front. And we are having to fight every single fight because I refuse to lose 2 gargoyles and 2 griffins every single time. This is a good time to make good use of our Q auto battle finisher. Once we get all these troops out of the way, I'm guessing I could just hit Q right now. I'm not sure where the gargoyles would fly to and attack though, so I'm going to be just a little bit more careful than I otherwise would suppose I could be. Because sometimes the AI surprises me, and the strategy that I have in mind that will allow me to take no losses, they disagree on that strategy, and then they do something entirely different from what I think should happen. And then I lose troops anyway. Take the archery. I don't think I need the trading post. Take the experience. And then with all these spells, we should be able to at least get in here. Do I need this Book of Summoning? I talked with Steeson1 specifically about Mirror Image and whether it qualifies as a summoning spell and whether this artifact here, the Book of Summoning, is impacted by it. And we've determined that it is not impacted by it. He's got a wealth of knowledge, and I'm going to believe him very, very much so in that conversation there. So as it is, I'm going to use one of my blinds. There's a magic well right next to me, so I might as well use all the spells I want to make sure I lose no troops here. I'm going to blind here, and then next turn I'm going to blind here. Let's focus on making sure that this stack is easily defeated. Wow, very easily defeated. One more blind. With 6 spell power, those blinds are going to last a healthy amount of time. And we need not fear this horde of Medusa. Okay. But it does require that we skip just a little bit of our time and just be cautious, be careful, be purposeful. I guess purposeful is probably the better word. This is probably a mistake if I wanted to be 100% purposeful, in the sense that I should not have broken the blind. But because I'm not too worried, we'll just continue this way. And again, we will take luck. I'm leaving this spot open. Maybe I'll get lucky at this tree. I'll pick up a level, and then I will get my beautiful, wonderful basic wisdom. Even access to 3rd level spells here. Fireball, Animate Dead. Animate Dead's not very good. Fireball is the first AoE spell I have available to me, but we'll take it. Okay, Troll Growth is up. Natasha needs to get out of the way. She can pick up all that gold in just 1 second, but for now, all of the troops go over, and this Summon Boat spell from this spell scroll does need to go over. No, because there was a Summon Boat here in this town, so it's actually not necessary, and yet we will continue on as if it were. Do I need to make a change here? 4 stacks of ruins. I think that that's better than the gargoyles. Yeah, it's better than the gargoyles by a lot. By a lot. But there's still a lot of map to be played, and we're officially running way out of time. Way out of time. We're going to take all this experience, and we will finally go with navigation. Our goal is in sight, and so I'll take the navigation over the other options there. We're going to go here, and this is going to be the last of these troops that we're going to get. This is the last time we're going to resupply from this town. From here on out, Aerie is going to be on the mainland. I don't know if we're going to have time to even get him up to the front. I'm not going to worry about that one griffin at this time. I've done so much to make sure that there's no problems, and now I'll just stop. I'll worry just a little bit less. I'll chill out. A magical barrier stands tall before you, blocking your way. Runes on the arch read, "Speak the key and you may pass." As you speak the magic word, the glowing barrier dissolves into nothingness. I think that people see that occasionally, by the way. A stone statue of a warrior holds a silver shield. As you remove the shield, the statue crumbles into dust. That's +2 to our defense skill. I think people see me getting fatigued as I go through these playthroughs. Things that used to worry me in the very beginning of a playthrough don't really bother me as we go further on. And that doesn't really hurt my feelings. I think that's a normal thing to recognize that, hey man, I'm just tired. And I play differently when I'm tired as opposed to when I'm sharp and shiny. And that's okay. Okay, we're going to attack here, and then we're going to hit Q to end the fight from there. Just like that. There's got to be another town right here. There's just got to be. It just looks like there should be. In fact, I'm going to be a little disappointed if there's not. Okay. We are running out of time, folks. Aha! Dragon Tooth. Is that any indication? Compared to the rest of the villages in this land, this village seems grand, but in any other land it would seem poor. From here you can see the tall spires of the Warlock's Tower of Dragons. Wonderful. And we take no losses. Let's stop in. 6 red dragons. Pretty darn good. Pretty darn good. And this is likely going to be, yes, it looks like it is. This is where we're going to lose our gargoyles. We were able to recruit most of these dragons, but not all of them, because we are out of sulfur. Let's pick up these graveyards. We'll pick up these graveyards on the way back. But let's take out this horde of skeletons on our way to those sulfur mines that we know are over in that direction. We pick up the Arm of the Martyr, so we lose some of our morale for +3 spell power. I don't think I like that. I don't think I like that at all, actually. I suppose that Natasha can trade for the sulfur necessary to get that last red dragon. And it's actually going to be a couple of red dragons, or a couple of bits of sulfur we're going to need to have her pick up. Do I want the fire elementals? How many are there? It won't let me know until I actually do some other stuff here. Interesting, interesting. Looks like here are my sulfur mines. I'm just going to pick those up just because I'm over here. and I don't really want to fight these titans until I am ready. And I think that 1 more week's worth of growth from the red dragons will be just fine for me. Plus, we're picking up all this extra resources and experience. Yep, this looks just fine to me. Nomads, am I going to want to fight nomads? I don't think so. I think that the only reason I lost troops there, that first stack of nomads must have gotten good morale. The auto battler does take that into account. So, okay. But we continue on our way. Is this our last week? In 2 more weeks, thankfully. I'm glad we have this indicator. Otherwise, I would have been worried about, oh, you know, is this my last week or is next? In 2 more weeks, if you have not located Joseph, your kingdom will surely lose its current battle with Herondale. Okay. Why am I losing troops all of a sudden? Oh, my word. Let's avoid that. Let's avoid that, because this is the army that's going to be important to keep me moving forward. 1 Minotaur King. No, that was a mistake. I guess that the further into these lands that we're getting, the more of these nomads we're coming across. So that makes sense, I suppose. I don't think these nomads can attack here. I'm going to ignore them at the moment. Let's just see. Yeah, no problems. Okay, we lose the 1 Minotaur. Expert archery. Couple of centaurs. Hordes of centaurs. I'll accept some centaurs here. And some centaurs here. Okay. A throng? They're worth experience. We'll take the experience anyway. I do see a boat here on this left-hand side. Dare I go into the boat? I think not. I'm very, very concerned about going into the water with, I mean, yes, 2 weeks to go, but I mean, is it worth it to do some exploring just for fun? Just to see if there's anything fun out there? I don't really know. What could really help me? Let's see. View artifacts. Nothing over here. How about view resources? Nothing over here. How about view mines? There's a gold mine here, but I think that's behind the bone dragons. And yet there's this boat here. And yet there is a boat. Very concerning. What do I make of that? I cannot say. I do not know. Okay. A little bit more time left. I guess we're just going to continue to pick up all this free gold. You come across a conjurer who begs to accompany you and your army a while for safety. You agree, and he offers as payment a copy of the Book of the Elements. So this Book of the Elements doubles the effectiveness of all your summoning spells. So summon Earth Elemental, summon Water Elemental. I don't know if it affects like things like Haunt, the spell that will allow you to let ghosts go into a mine. If I can't have it, no one can. I don't know. Many dust plumes rise from the floor of this small valley. You see various bands of nomads roaming about, and in the distance, the bright flames of their camp. I guess they're still in the desert tents. I was going to say, I was like, oh, there probably was at one point, but not anymore. We got 2 weeks. Oh, we've got 2 weeks. Okay, we're going to do it. We're just going to see. We're just going to see if there's something fun out here. And if there's not, and if this throws the game, I'm going to look so foolish. But I think we might have time. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Why do we always got to cut these things so close? Thankfully, we did pick up that navigation earlier, and it looks like that's actually going to be fairly worthwhile for us here. Look how far we're able to go. Yeah, I feel a lot better about that actually now. That seems like enough gold. Let's get to this trading post as soon as we can. Ari will continue on his way. What secrets are out here? There's a map. Yeah, that gold mine there. There is a map in the Price of Loyalty campaign. Yes, the Price of Loyalty campaign, where you have the option to go into these kind of islands to the north. You have to defeat barbarians on the mainland. There's a yellow and a red enemy that you have to deal with, and then you have to pick up a Dimension Door scroll and then teleport into a Necromancer's domain and then defeat the Necromancers to get one of the Andrin artifacts from that Necromancer castle. But you can also then use that Dimension Door spell to go north and then like do some island hopping. This feels in that same way, that kind of extra. It's there. It'll work for you, but it's not really necessary. This whirlpool, we looked into it, by the way, in a previous scenario. We were wondering exactly how that worked. It's a 1 in 3 chance. It's a 1 in 3 chance that you will lose, I think, half the stack of your weakest level 6 creatures. So it's not worth it to me. I've got plenty of time to go back the other way. But I'm guessing that there's probably the whirlpool that goes out to here. We will take our time and we will go slowly but carefully and press on. Otherwise, this town, oh, there's going to be a whole ton of magi there, but she's just so slow. Natasha is just too slow. Right. Okay. Otherwise, this map is, I don't want to say it's 1 because it's not 1, but as long as we're able to get to the end, can I beat the Titans with all this army? Can I beat lots of Titans? I'm guessing I'll be able to. For now, we're going to stay overnight here in this Mage Guild just so we can get up to 20 full spell points. And then Natasha is not going to be able to get here and back. Just will not be able to. Let's move over all the troops we can. And then these are both level 6 creatures. Do I want the +3 to spell power? If I'm fighting Titans, are there any offensive spells I'm really going to want to use against them? Cold Ray? Maybe. But it's not worth the -1 morale. It's not worth the -1 morale. So Ari is going to take this Arm of the Martyr. He's going to take the bad morale penalty, and we're going to keep blood morale on our primary hero. This is the last week you have to find the rebel wizard Joseph. Good luck in your quest. Oh, it's only a little scary. Only a little scary. Fire Cloak, that's not going to help us. Anything else here in this corner here? We'll accept 22 more Centaurs. And we searched the dust of this abandoned campsite. We found some extra knowledge. And, oh, this is wonderful. We find this artesian spring. That's going to be very useful, actually. Very useful indeed. There's a chance that we're going to be able to get mages back up to here before we have to win this fight. There's a chance. It's not guaranteed. But now we at least have 80 spell points. That bodes very, very well for us. It's time for us to cast our summon boat. And we're going to hop in right now. I wish that there was a way we could land here, but unfortunately, Ari is probably going to have to get back to this section of beach here. If Natasha is able to even reach to get these 12 magi to the front. There's no other troops here. Let's just sprint as far and as fast as we can. Why is she so slow? Okay. And remember that we have to land, which is 1 turn, and then we have to walk in to Island Home, which will be another turn. So on our last day to be there is day 5? We have to land on day 6, and then we have to attack this Island Home on day 7. That's how that works. Okay. I guess Ari didn't have to go all the way over this way. But can we land here? Yes, we can. So we have 2 more days. Are we going to be able to make it? I don't think we're going to be able to make it, but we've made a good, worthy effort. 4 turns. It's not going to matter. It's not going to matter, unfortunately. Oh, and it was so close. So very, very close. If I'd done this a little bit differently, if I'd had Ari right here, then we would have made it. But as it stands, we're not going to make it. Jump, laddie! Jump! Yep, we're not going to make it. Unfortunate. Darn, because that's doubling the stack of my Arc Magi, and that would have been wonderful. Can I still beat lots of Titans? Absolutely, I can. We're just going to explore over around here. just because we got the time. We've got the time. So long as we can land here, we're going to be okay. Don't mess up. Don't ruin it. Okay. And so we are ready to fight this fight with 10 attack, 10 defense, 8 spell power, 4 knowledge. That's going to be 75 total spell points. That's going to be a pretty good army. We left 7 red dragons on the table. We left 7 red dragons. Why am I so bad at this game? We left 7 red dragons. We stayed overnight to get the full spell points. Huh. That's so bad. All right. Well, let's see if all those centaurs that we've recruited are going to help us or not. We've got to win. There's no other way around it. Let's see. A glorious victory. Not a problem. Let's fight this fight because I think it's going to be the tough fight of them all. We're always going to be doing full damage with our centaurs and our archmagi. That'll be nice. We don't really have a lot of disabling spells we can do on titans because they are immune to mind spells. So for example, if I try and use this blind, the spell will have no effect. And I can't really buff up my dragons. There's not much I can do there. I could haste my minotaurs and that'll help them get down the battlefield quicker, but they're still going to get down the battlefield in 2 turns, regardless of whether I haste them or not. I can't. Should I haste anybody else? I could haste my centaurs, so that way they go second, or at least, yeah, they'll go next turn anyway. I could bless. I could curse. I could disrupting ray. There's a lot of things I can do here. For now, let's haste the centaurs, and then they're going to go after this top stack here. Maybe we'll get good morale there. We do not. Very sad. Wow, I grossly underestimated exactly how much damage these centaurs would be doing. Holy cow. Very, very not worth it. We're still going to kind of focus on this one stack. And then let's start torching these titans this way. And then this stack of griffins will go here, knowing that these Minotaur Kings are going to slide into this top stack there. Okay. And then should we bless our Minotaurs? I think so. Let's do that. Because with max damage, knowing that we do anywhere between 5 to 10 damage on these Minotaur Kings, it's pretty meaningful. It's pretty significant. 55 hit points there, 74 there, 196. Let's work on this stack of 4 here. Let's work now on this stack here. Killing these titans. Yeah, I highly regret that haste now. For some reason, I thought that I would have a high enough attack that would really, really matter. But really, I only have 13 attack. And they have 15 defense, meaning I'm still only going to be doing... I'm going to be doing 10% reduced damage anyway. So I had better options, and I saw the huge stack of level 1 creatures. I thought, that's the way to win. And it was not. So a little bit of live and learn, and that's okay. That's okay. Any other spells? Oh, we might as well. Bloodlust the already blessed Minotaur Kings. 196, 241, 26, 126. Let's see, we can kill 1 Titan there. And then let's continue to work on this top stack of Titans. Thankfully, we did not need all those extra dragons, but it could have mattered. It really could have mattered. I'm glad it didn't. And that's really the biggest argument for might over magic right now. I mean, this fight with one of the sorceress or warlock heroes wouldn't be going nearly so well. And let's think, actually, how would the fight have gone if from the very beginning we had chosen not Roger the Barbarian? How would the fight have gone? Well, we would have had a Resurrect True on, let's just assume a max wisdom hero. Let's assume that they have 15 spell power. We never would have lost because we would have been able to Resurrect True all of our troops, right? Assume we have lots of knowledge, assume that we picked up that Artesian Spring. We absolutely would have won because of the Resurrect True. We would have had the mirror image, and so we could have mirror imaged a stack of Archmagi. We would have been basically doubling our damage in that regard. I don't remember what the 4th level spells were. We'll check on this afterwards. But even just those 2 spells alone would have been more than enough to win the fight. Without that, it wasn't a problem, but that's how the fight would have differed if we had gone with one of those other heroes. Let me just double check real quick. What could it have been? What could have been? Meteor Shower. Berserk? Yeah, Berserk is a huge spell. That's a massive spell. Berserk will win you fights all day, every day. In fact, which is better, Berserk or Resurrect True? That's a close question. I think Resurrect True ultimately is better, but the difference between a 4th level spell and a 5th level spell in that instance is much closer. Meteor Shower and Resurrect True, worlds apart. Meteor Shower is so far below Resurrect True, it's not even funny. It's a good damaging spell, it's AoE, great, fine, fantastic. But Berserker... in fact, if later... if somebody wanted to make their own mod of Heroes of Might and Magic 2, which is within the scope of the FHeroes2 project to allow people to mod the game, if someone wanted to mod it so Berserker was actually a 5th level spell, I think that would actually be pretty darn appropriate. I think it's that powerful. Berserker is a tremendous, tremendous spell. And thankfully, this is not like Heroes of Might and Magic 3, where you can get expert fire magic, and then you can just Berserk a whole army in a 3x3 radius, because that's just, I mean, it's the only reason why you would ever take an expert fire magic in Heroes of Might and Magic 3. Otherwise, I mean, you'd always prefer to have what? You'd probably always prefer to have expert earth and then expert air and then expert fire and then expert water. That's kind of the ranking I would do it. Maybe you would disagree with me. Maybe you value something more than the town portal and the mass slow. Maybe you'd prefer the mass haste and the dimension door. And so maybe your earth and your air would swap back and forth. I'm getting into the weeds here, especially about Heroes 3, which we're playing Heroes 2, but I'm kind of theorizing here. I am theorizing here. Anyway, okay, it's time to move on. We'll come back to that another day, another time. For now, it's day 6. We have one more day to defeat Island Home. Just because we beat all those Titans doesn't mean this is going to be a pushover town. It was a pushover town. I say, oh, that doesn't mean that this isn't going to be a fight. Oh, it's not a fight. Trust me. This is pretty fine. In fact, this is so nice. We're just going to hit auto combat and just see what the computer does. Focus the boars, focus the centaurs, focus the halflings. That's good because they hadn't gone yet. Jam up the magi, but there's just not enough value there. Minotaurs go out of the defensive position and get down the battlefield. Yeah, I like the way that fight went. And now we have captured Island Home. We are victorious. So, when we go into our next choice, which will be scenario 6, because we did complete scenario 7, the Elven Lands. Next time we're instead going to do the Ivory Gates scenario 6. We should have Joseph with us. If I have to beat 5 again really quickly, just so that way I can make sure we have Joseph, the Wayward Son, I will do that just for the purposes of this playthrough. We're not going to have Ivan for 6. But again, we're going through these scenarios just so we are very thorough. And I'm happy to use the magic. I'm happy for the way this scenario has gone. That was a lot of fun. And we used every little bit of our 3 months. So don't ever say that I can't get anything done without a deadline. The deadline simply makes sure it's done on time. We would have gotten there. It would have been fine. Don't even worry about it. Folks, thank you very much for your support. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you can tell that I have a whole ton of fun doing these scenarios. I love Heroes of Might and Magic 2. I love playing this game, and I appreciate being able to kind of talk through my thought process as we're playing. Hopefully there's some insights for you, whether you are a veteran of the game or whether you are newer or returning. I hope that there's value for anyone who watches these videos. And it's been a tremendous amount of fun getting into the FHeroes2 community and watching other people play and seeing their play styles. And there's been many a time where I've said to myself, wait, you can do that, as I see them play. So I'm not the only person out there. Feel free to check out everybody who's out there playing Heroes, Might, and Magic 2. Everybody who plays it is a friend to me. But my plan is to go into Scenario 6 next time, the Ivory Gates. We will do that with Joseph. Until that time, stay happy, stay healthy, look after yourself, look after your friends and family, and I will see you next time. Fix Fox, out.